Hey y'all, so I'm not gonna keep y'all for too long. I was sitting here about to take my makeup off, but before I could take my makeup off, I gotta take my wig off. And if y'all watched my 6-month lock update video, then you'll know that I kind of been contemplating either cutting my locks off, restarting my journey, or just going through the motions. And so I just wanted to hop on here and really just go into detail about the reasons why I'm even considering restarting, just cutting them off, or just going with the flow of the process. And so if you're interested in hearing about those reasons, if you relate to anything I say, if you're just like, girl, just write it out, trust me, then stay tuned and keep on watching. And if you have any feedback, tips, just words of encouragement, leave them down below in the comments. But here is my reasons. So reason number one why I am even considering, and I guess this is the main reason, I've been walking around feeling like this for like a month or two now. Like every time I am like messing with my locks or hydrating my locks or doing anything with my locks, I'm just like, I just wish that I started this process when I had just a little bit more knowledge of locks or of the locks that I have on my head, how to better maintain them. Because I just feel like if I had more knowledge, or if I was to start this process over again with the knowledge that I have currently, that those locks would just look so much better than my locks now. Not to say that I do not like my locks currently. Let me get that out of the way. I love my locks. I think they're amazing. I have no actual complaints about my locks themselves. It's more so the errors that I made to get them to this point. It's not, like I said, it's not like, I don't know how to explain that, because it's not the locks, it's mainly me. It's because I feel like I went into this process not knowing as much as I should have before locking my hair. And I feel like because of that, my locks are not suffering per se, but I just know that they could look and just feel better if I had went in with just a little bit more experience, or if I would have did like a trial and error process, or maybe not like interlocking so soon, or just doing like a mini twist journey for a minute. I feel like I kind of rushed into the process because in my head it was like, well, I'm not doing anything with my loose natural hair, I might as well just lock it out and get the process somewhat started, so that a year from now, 2 years from now, I'm not started from the ground one because I'm just refusing to lock my hair. And so I was like, some progress is better than no progress. But now looking back, I'm like, I wish I would have just maybe slowed down and took my time to really figure out what I wanted in my locks, how to properly maintain them. Like, and not to say that the processes or the knowledge that I have now, and mind you, I feel like there is so much more for me to even learn about locks. I feel like I am just scratching the surface, honestly. But I just know that if I was to redo this process with the knowledge that I know now, my locks would look completely different. Like, they will just look better. But that being said, and then the thing is that I don't even know if what I have learned is even like the things, like the knowledge that I have is because I have hands-on experience with my locks. I don't know if I would have learned this knowledge just from watching YouTube videos, or just from looking at Instagram, or doing research in other formats, but I don't know. So I don't know. I just wish that I could start the process again with the knowledge that I have currently about locks, because I just feel like in my heart that if I started it with a little bit more patience and with the knowledge that I have now, that those locks would just look tip top, perfect. My second reason, and y'all know comparison is the thief of joy, but I was on Instagram the other day and I saw somebody with like 225 locks. And if y'all have not seen my lock count video, you would know, well, you wouldn't know, but if you don't know, I have 201 locks. I'm actually pretty impressed with myself, because when I went in to install my locks, I did not look to be symmetrical or even. It just kind of worked out that way, that I have pretty much 200 locks and like 100 is like on one side and 100 is on the other side. And so I'm kind of proud of myself in that regard. But now that I saw someone with like 225, I was like, damn, I kind of wish that I would have did them just a little bit smaller, because that 225, yeah. And I won't ever want like 300, 350 or 500 locks. I would never want that many. But that 225, I was like, I could do that. I could fully do that myself and have it look bomb. But I was like, is adding 25 more locks worth combing out the 200 that I have now? Like, child. And then I was like, everybody's head is different. And so her 225 might look completely different than my 225. But just to know that, like, if I was to have 20 to 30 more locks, that my head of locks could look just a little bit different and maybe even better than what I have currently. That I don't know yet, but I don't know if it's worth just combing out my locks. And that's another thing. I don't know if I will ever just comb out these locks. A lot of people come on this here internet, on Instagram, on TikTok, and do comb out videos for months. Comb out my locks with me, going live, combing out their locks. I just think that is a long time, a very time-consuming process. And for me, I always had in my head that once I was over my locks, I would just shave my head, start over. If I want a new set, I'll get it once my hair grow out. But I never had in my head that I was ever gonna comb out my locks. But now, I'm like, if I was to restart sometime soon, I wouldn't want to start with a shaved head. I would want to start with the length that I have now. And so the only way to do that is to comb out my locks and restart them. So the next reason is that, if you guys don't know, you can check out a few of my other lock videos. But when I first got my locks, I self-installed my locks. But the first few times that I got my locks retightened, I went to a beautician, cosmetologist, hairstylist, whatever you want to call her. A loctician, I guess you can say. To retighten my locks, and she used a 4-point rotation when retying my locks, which I initially did not have any problems with. I honestly didn't even know to ask her if she could do maybe a 2 rotation or a 3 rotation. But looking back now, or knowing what I know now, a 4-point rotation on my size locks just don't really make sense. Currently, it doesn't look horrible. But I just know that like a 2-point will be just fine, considering that my locks are on the bigger micro scale than the traditional microloc. And so I'm just like, I just wish that I would have started my retightening process with like a 2-point rotation. And so that has also been like part of my issue as well. It's like, I don't even feel like my locks needed a 4-point rotation to start with. And now if I switch to 2-point, you'll still be able to see the portion of my lock that is 4-point, and then when I switch to 2-point, and then the part that which is 2-strand twist. And that's the thing about locks. That's the thing about locks, is like locks are not as forgiving as loose natural hair. I feel like if you don't completely fry your hair is gonna bounce back. With some treatments, with some protein, whatever, you can kind of like get it back, unless you're like heat damaged or whatever the case may be. But I feel like you have just a little bit more freedom to really like play with your new natural hair without it completely just without it just completely dying. Versus with locks, whatever you do, you're gonna see that process in the lock. Like, if you change this 1 month and then go back to that 1 month, mama, that lock is literally a timeline. It's gonna show exactly what happened at each stage of its life. And there's no way to undo that without combing out the lock or just starting over. And I'm just like, that alone drives me insane sometimes. Because sometimes I wish I could just untighten or like loosen up the knots that I've already created with my reties, but that is just not possible. And so that's another thing, is that like I just wish I would have done it with more of a 2-point rotation, just so it could kind of match the thickness, because the 4-point is just a little tight for me. And so that's one thing, that's one reason why I'm just like, should I just start over? Should I just comb them out and just start over and do a 2-point and then make my life a whole lot easier too when I retighten? I think I also mentioned this next reason in my 6-month lock update as well, but at some point I want to get this color out of my head. And I was over this color when I installed my locks, but again, I didn't think in hindsight and realize, like, Alexis, once you start your lock process, you're going to have to wait until your locks are mature enough to dye them. So it would be better for me to have dyed my hair the color I wanted it long term before I locked it, because I had to wait at least 6 months. I'm on 6 months and I still don't feel like my locks are mature enough to dye. So now I'm looking at like another 3 more months until I could dye them. And it's just like, I'm tired of looking at this faded color. And so I'm just like, do I just comb them out? Hear me out. Do I just comb them out, dye my hair the color that I want to dye them, and then reinstall them with a 2-point rotation and live my fantasy? Do y'all hear what I'm saying? Like, and so like, I'm not giving up on locks completely. Like, I'm not trying to say that like I want to comb them out and become a loose natural again. That's not it. But I just feel like if I comb them out, dye my loose natural hair, because then it'll just be an easier process of dyeing, just in general. And then I'll reinstall them, adding the 20 to 30 more locks that I want with a 2-point rotation. Do y'all hear me? And so, I don't know, y'all. I don't know. But my next point, this list is getting kind of long. My next point would be that I would know what to expect with my locks as they go through the phases that they go through. Because with this initial set of locks, when I tell y'all, and y'all can obviously see that in some of my update videos, but I'm just like, what's happening? It's 6 months and my locks still looking like, to me, still looking like mini twists. And by this point, I don't understand why y'all are still looking like mini twists. But if I start again, I kind of would know that, okay, like with the smaller locks, you're probably going to wait a little bit longer to see them fully mature. It's probably going to take more like a year than just the 6 months if your locks are smaller. And so I would just know what to expect, even with regards to frizz, even with regards to like products, even with regards to lint. Like, I would just have a better understanding of like the different phases my locks are gonna go through, and so I wouldn't be too shocked. Not that I was like jump scared with my current locks, but it was just like, all right, are y'all doing something? Like, what is happening? Do y'all need something? Am I doing something wrong? It was just like, should I be doing this? Should I be doing that? Because I just don't feel like they're maturing fast enough. But it's just like, girl, just trust the process. Everything you read, just trust the process. Trust the process. And so I'm trusting the process, and it still is like, okay, well, we just don't have mini twists for a year. But anyways, that is basically my list. I think that was about like 5 reasons as to why I may or may not comb out my locks and just start over. But as of right now, unless y'all change my mind, I think I'm going to keep these locks in for at least a year. I'm gonna give this set of locks a full year and see what they're looking like. After the year mark, if I'm still having these same feelings of like, okay, no, I want 20 to 30 more locks. No, I want to switch to 2-point rotation. Or no, I want to like, or if I can't dye my, like I want, whatever. If any of the reasons that I have listed here are still very much relevant in a year from now, or I guess 6 more months, then I'm gonna just start over. I'm either going to comb them out or shave my head and just start over with fresh virgin hair and have that be that. But that is 6 more months away. And so part of me is just like, I should do it now while my locks are not as mature, because it'll be easier. If I did want to comb them out, it'll be easier to comb them out now versus in a year, or I should say 6 months. But part of me also want to just see what they end up looking like in a year. Part of me is like, okay, I don't want to just give up on y'all because I like y'all, I love y'all. Like the locks themselves are not like I like them. That's the thing, is that I like my locks. I'm just not fully in love with them, and I think I'm not fully in love with them because I know that they can look a little bit better. But I don't know if that little bit better is enough for me to fully commit to taking out these current locks and starting over. So that is where I'm at. I told y'all I won't be on here too long. And so let me know what y'all think. Am I going crazy? Should I just trust the process? The comments on some of my update videos just be like, trust the process, just keep with it. Like, and I'm just like, all right, y'all, I'm gonna just keep with it. But I have these reservations, and maybe just starting over while I'm ahead. Is that the phrase? Is better than starting over when I'm behind. I don't know if that makes sense, but basically I don't know if I should start over now versus starting over after a year if I'm still not loving what I'm seeing. And so that's it for your girl. And so let me know, just let me know, y'all. Just have the conversation with me if y'all don't mind. And yeah, until my next video, I'll see y'all then.